this idea of intimacy, for me, I could only understand it from the perspective of, oh, you can only have that in the context of a romantic relationship. That's the only place where intimacy is available. That's how I understood it then. And then as I started to do my personal growth work, I started to realize, wait, intimacy is actually available all the time with anyone, everywhere, if we know how to access it. And I'll try to explain it a little deeper here. So let's look at the word intimacy. Let's break it down. The word intimacy. Into me see, or into me I see. So if we look at it from that perspective, I know it's a little creative wordplay there, but let's just roll with it. So into me see, it means into me you can see, or into me I can see. So the idea of intimacy is really about being able to see into, or into yourself, or see into other people. That's how we connect with others, is we can see them fully for who they are. When I was doing this personal growth work, basically I realized that there's different exercises to do, but you can even just look at someone's eyes, and you can actually, you know how they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, or something like that, right? Some really fancy romantic word there. But there's some truth to that, where you can actually see a person fully beyond just the physical by just looking into their eyes. So what drives this? What drives connection and intimacy? Well, basically we have to create sort of some kind of safe container where this actually can take place. The way we cultivate it is through frequent and open and honest communication. Frequent, open, and honest communication. I mean, just starting with the open communication is probably a big step. The frequency is the next step. You build up to that. And what that means is that most people tend to hold, I mentioned earlier, some people tend to hold back out of fear that they will either be judged or not loved, or if they're seen for who they are in terms of that part that's coming up that they're not happy with, that they will not be accepted or loved, or not be seen fully for who they are. So that's something that we have to reconcile, because then are we living, you have to ask yourself, are we living in a paradigm of fear, or are we living in a paradigm of love? If we're living in a paradigm of love, then the idea is that if we share with someone our most intimate fears or worries or concerns or issues that are happening with us, then we accept that that person is going to see us, accept that, and allow that to be, and not say anything to that effect. So when you have frequent communication with a partner, basically there is no false expectations or disappointments, because the ego is very clever, as I mentioned earlier. And when we don't get when there's any ambiguity around something, like for example, let's say you're at home, your partner comes home from a long day of work, and your partner, you can tell visibly that something's wrong with them, like they're upset over something, or they're just not their usual selves. And you ask their partner, okay, what's going on here? Is everything okay? How's work? And they're like, I don't want to talk about it. And so then there's the ambiguity. You don't know what's going on because there's no open communication. So your mind, as a person who asks, the ego starts to get clever and tries to fill in the blanks that it doesn't get information from. And when we have these expectations, when our ego starts to fill in the blank, we can potentially be prone to error. Most of the time we are usually wrong at reading, what's really going on with other people. And depending on how far on the scale of fear you're in, it could be a disaster scenario. Oh, they came home from a bad day at work, and that must be they don't love me anymore, they're gonna divorce me and it's all over, kind of thing, right? So it can be pretty ridiculous. And I've seen these situations actually be true. Whereas if you're in a love paradigm, say, oh, he's having a bad day at work, it's okay, I'll just give him space, let him come back to the center, and then we can chat about it later on if he chooses to, right? So there's very different ways right there that in a very simple context can be shown how we can relate differently or approach the situation differently. But we have to understand that who's filling the blanks, basically. Because if our ego's filling the blanks and we're making assumptions, and we think that we know what's going on, then we can be prone to disappointment. Because what is disappointment? Disappointment is we have an expectation that gets unmet, and then we're disappointed.